both words which describe our community. Come with me now on a tour of the past and the present. Our tour begins here with the Highland Commons, which for over 75 years served our community as a school. On Thanksgiving weekend, 1983, the Highland School was closed permanently. The new North Hartford Elementary School was opened a few miles from here, consolidating the Highland and Slate Ridge School Districts. To save this building from falling into decay, area residents formed the Highland Community Association. With community efforts and in cooperation with Harford County government, the old Highland School was rededicated in May 1986 and was renamed the Highland Commons. One aim of the Highland Community Association is to preserve the history of the Highland community and the surrounding area. Let's go back to the beginning of our community. Here is where our community began. For on January 21st, 1884, the Maryland and Pennsylvania Railroad, affectionately known as the Ma and Pa, opened service between Baltimore, Maryland, and Delta, Pennsylvania. Highland Station, the building behind it, was the seventh stop. Today, it is used as a private home. The railroad was designed mainly for local traffic and thus laid out to serve many Harford County villages and towns. Thomas P. Wysong in 1879 writes, "To our immediate neighborhood, the effect of the road will be significant. The iron horse will soon be running along our streams and through our villages. The smoke of the locomotive will curl its reek above the summit." One of the first buildings to be built as a result of the Maryland and Pennsylvania Railroad was Highland Station, which would serve as a store and post office for years to come. A village was being born, for soon Victorian houses, a Presbyterian church, and a 6-room brick schoolhouse would be constructed. As county highways improved, people began to rely less and less on the railroad. Milk and other freight were now being shipped by truck. The Ma and Pa made its last passenger run on August 31st, 1954. Freight service continued until 1958. A period in Highland's history came to an end. In 1887, 3 years after the train arrived, plans were made to build a new Presbyterian church in Highland. In 1890, the building was completed and services began. The early church committee decided to build the church on the south side of Highland Road and bought 1 acre of land in 1888 for this purpose. A need was felt for a church to serve the immediate neighborhood, to save local residents from traveling many miles on dirt roads by horse and buggy to reach already existing churches. Growth in the church has expanded growth in the community. Through the decades, Highland Church has expanded its facilities to accommodate its growing community. Today, Highland Presbyterian Church continues to be a vibrant focal point for the community. With the opening of Highland School in 1907, 3 one-room schools were closed. Sylvan Retreat was one of them. one-room schoolhouse has now become a part of history. Today, Sylvan Retreat stands alone on a hill, a decaying monument to those memories past. Construction of the school in 1907 was the beginning of fulfilling a long-standing community need, and the support of the community was overwhelming. The land on which the school stands was donated. All of the hauling and materials were contributed by members of the community, and the total cost of the building was $8,000. The first graduating class was in June of 1908, consisting of one member. Gradual changes have been made to the school over the years to accommodate the growing community. Extensive renovations took place to give the school its present-day appearance. With the opening of the new consolidated North Harford High School in 1951, Highland High, which had housed grades 1 through 11, became Highland Elementary School for grades 1 through 6. In 1914, the Highland Grange built its hall in this community, a majestic white fabric building. It stood about 100 yards from the school and was used for many assemblies and other programs. The Highland Grange was instrumental in establishing vocational agriculture and home economics programs for the school. Sadly, the building no longer stands today. Across the street from me is the building that housed the agriculture department of Highland High School. Called the Beatty Building, it is named after Earl C. Beatty, who was a promoter of the vocational agriculture program here as a teacher. It was one of the first such programs in America. Franklin Roosevelt's Secretary of Agriculture, Henry Wallace, visited here in recognition of its landmark importance. There's much more that I could tell you about the history of Highland, but the time has come to bring our tour to a close.